Hello and welcome back for session 7. We're going to go over just a couple of administrative announcements quickly before I pass things over to the AIM team. So if you are just joining us, or maybe joined yesterday but want some refreshers, this session is being recorded, and then all session materials, including the recordings and Q&A, will be available on the CCSQ DNA portal following the conclusion of the event. Just a reminder to give us a couple days to turn that around to make sure that we have everything 508 compliant and accessible for all. And then the Q&A will be as long as time allows. For instance, our last session, we didn't have time for the formal Q&A portion, but team members were able to answer a lot of the questions in the chat. So we do ask that you put all of your questions in the Zoom chat to give team members the opportunity to answer those and get back to you. But anything that's not answered or potentially doesn't get answered if we don't have time for our Q&A will be published. So please keep an eye out for that, and we'll make sure all questions get answered regardless. So with that, I'm going to be passing things over to Amir, Nikhil, and Ava to give us more information on their topic.
I'm Amir. I'm the Scrum Master on the AIM team. I'll be starting off by going through some of the slides that we've got here. My main goal is to get through the slides pretty quickly so that we can get to the actual demo, which is what I think most of us want to see here. So if we want to skip to the next slide. So the AIM team is the artificial intelligence through machine learned modeling. So we handle a lot of AI pieces and kind of putting those together, and we'll be going over what a couple of the products that we have do. Next slide, please. So our agenda, we've got a short video introducing FAS and CASA, which are the two products that we mainly use. We will go over the use cases, and then, as I said, we want to get to the demo as soon as possible. So we'll skip to the next slide, and I think that is the video. So if you go to the bottom there should be like a play button for that.
Machine learning and artificial intelligence are transforming the workplace. CMS and CCSQ are utilizing an AI solution, artificial intelligence through machine learned modeling, AIMM, which uses natural language processing, NLP, and machine learning, ML, to assist with labor-intensive, daunting tasks. When the government proposes changes to a rule, stakeholders submit comments on regulations.gov. Logistically, this is a challenge to process. The volume of comments, difficulty in categorizing and organizing them, and the struggle to understand and quantify the overall sentiment from commenters can be overwhelming. There are often tight timelines to read, analyze, and respond to comments. And comments aren't always in the same format. The responses to these comments are crucial, as the impact on programs and policies can be significant. Yes, comment review is manually intensive and time-consuming, but it doesn't have to be. By applying ML and NLP, the branch of AI that allows computers to understand and interpret human language, we can alleviate much of the burden. Enter the Feedback Analysis System, FAS. This solution works through that text data and analyzes comments, deploying various models that detect duplicate comments and those with similar text and group them together. It groups by topic. It identifies the submitter of the comment and the type of stakeholder that submitted the comment. It detects and groups comment themes, and it detects sentiments within the comments, all viewable within an interactive interface. Let's demonstrate that last one. FAS detects and highlights dark statements, disagreement, agreement, recommendation, and clarification statements a commenter made regarding policy. Here, the disagreement and agreement model, a deep learning text classification model, analyzes comment text and automatically identifies sentiment statements that are in agreement or disagreement with the proposed rule content. When it finds an instance, an annotation is made. This lightens the workload for the user as they can see the annotations and change them if necessary. During the nursing home survey process, surveyors or inspectors visit nursing homes and record any evidence of non-compliance with CMS regulations on forms called 2567s. This data is important as it provides critical insights into facility conditions and compliance. But reviewing those reports, which can span multiple pages and include extraneous details, presents a logistical challenge. CMS needed support ingesting, analyzing, and visualizing the survey data. The Citation Analysis and Summary Assistant, or CASA, solution was developed to assist analysts and survey staff with reviewing and gaining insights from the survey data. CASA offers user-friendly dashboards that provide viewers with key metrics, including total counts of facilities, surveys, surveyors, and cited deficiencies. There are CASA-specific metrics, such as the number and percentage of deficiencies the machine learning models flagged for further review. An interactive map shows these values broken down by state. Visuals show the deficiency volumes over time, and users can also view the breakdown of deficiencies cited within their respective regulatory group. CASA uses ML and NLP to identify elements of the survey report, like evidence, number of residents affected, and severity statements. These insights are highlighted in the survey text to support reviewers. CASA also analyzes the language on surveys to identify and flag deficiencies for further review. Users can filter deficiencies for review based on multiple survey and deficiency attributes, as well as model outputs.
I think the video portion of that did not quite come through, but that's okay. Let's go to the next slide and we'll go through kind of what we have for the CASA side of things, or the FAS side of things. So FAS was developed in large part to analyze large volumes of public comment data. So the way things usually work is changes are made to policy, and then there's usually a 30-day comment period for folks to submit their feedback on the policy. Once that feedback is submitted, it needs to be analyzed, and then a new policy can be submitted if there's significant feedback pointing in one direction or the other. So next slide, please. So the main pain point that you see at the bottom here is just the sheer number of comments and the amount that has to be processed so that feedback can be submitted in a timely manner. Oftentimes we've seen dockets with up to 45,000 comments submitted to them, and the time that it would take to analyze and process them manually was just overwhelming. And the goal of FAS was to kind of help process that, to help workers actually get feedback from that in a much more timely fashion. Next slide, please. So FAS offers a variety of useful features, including stakeholder identification, categorization of comments, sentiment analysis, comment grouping, and theme detection. And this kind of helps users to provide the more feedback and get a better handle on what was the content of the majority of the feedback that was submitted. Next slide, please. So FAST uses a variety of AI and ML techniques. You can see them on the right here throughout our pipeline. We do this to process the comments and output the insights that are used by our end user to provide that final bit of data to provide feedback on policies. Next slide, please. So the main benefits for FAST are the reduced manual processing time and efficiency in identifying similar comments. So comments that are 90% or more similar. This again helps speed up the processing time of things on the FAST side of things. Next slide, please. So next up, we have CASA. So CASA was developed to flag nursing home surveys that include more severe or larger scopes of data than were cited. So oftentimes nursing homes will have surveys done on them, and the data that's cited in the surveys will not match where the the data should be. So they're level 1, 2, 3, and 4 severities. And oftentimes, based on the comments, uh, a survey should be flagged as a higher or lower level, and we help with the overcitation and undercitation of data in that. So if you include, let's go to the next slide, please. So again, pain points for nursing homes for this data is, again, large volumes of data and the length of the forms that are submitted. So oftentimes the forms that are submitted as part of the survey are basically a large block of text that is unstructured, and basically data needs to be parsed through, which is difficult to do for end users without reading through the entire block of text. So next slide, please. And so here we've got an example of one of these nursing home surveys. So again, the text block that's circled here on the screen is a large unstructured field, makes it very difficult for a user to parse through or find specific pieces of data that they're looking for, again, without reading that entire block of text and kind of understanding it and getting the right context that they need for that. Next slide, please. So CASA is able to flag for both scope and severity, and it's able to identify severity statements. So basically highlighting what the important statements are and how they don't match with the severity of that has been categorized as. Next slide, please. And so much like FAS, CASA uses a variety of AI and machine learning techniques, again, throughout the pipeline to process our data. Next slide, please. We've had a number of positive testimonials from users that have been sharing their positive experiences with both FAS and CASA. And we have many more to share if you're interested in them. I think next up, Ava is going to do a demo of FAS and CASA for us. So
Awesome, thanks Amir. I will take over the screen share and I will start with the FAS application. I just need to, hold on, let me start one more time. All right, everybody should be seeing a Chrome window with the feedback analysis system in the top left-hand corner. You should be on a page that says docket select. Is that correct? Great, thank you. All right, this is our feedback analysis system. This is when you first log into the application, depending on what data you're interested in seeing, this is the first page you'll be brought to. This is our docket select page. This is a page that houses all of the different collections of data that we have ingested into the application that you're able to analyze. This is focusing on a lot of proposed rules. So for rulemaking, so you'll see a lot of proposed rules in here. But to go into the docket, I will click on this one here. So I'll bring your attention to the top right hand where it says 100 or 1,902 filtered comments. So one of the functionalities of the FAS application is to remove or group duplicate comments. So you do have the ability to uncheck that filter and see the full total. So for this docket, it happened to be about 7,000 comments. So with that deduplication or similarity grouping process enabled here, you're definitely reducing the amount of comments you have to read through, right? So that's a lot of duplicate comments. Within the filters available to FAS users, you can see comments grouped by different topics. You can see comments groups by any categories that come in from regulations.gov, which is the source of this particular docket data, as well as location. You can identify whether or not the submitting organization of the comment was found, and that information will be pulled to your attention. You can also see the comments grouped by different stakeholder types, by any settings of care if that's applicable, as well as specialties who have commented or specific roles who have commented. We're also identifying recommendation or clarification statements, as well as statements of agreement with the policy or disagreement with the proposed policy. Lastly, we have a themes filter that allows you to group the comments that have been ingested by different themes that arise across the comment corpus. So I'm just going to apply some filters here. And I see I got about 836 comments. I'm also able to search for keywords, so I can search for one or many keywords. I'll just search for these 3 as an example and hit apply. And now I'm down to about 23. I have the capability at any point when I'm using these filters to either clear them or the text, or download the list of comments that comes as a result of these filters. And this, if I hit this download button, you get a little notification and you're able to see that download as an Excel file. So here I'm in my comment listing table. I'm seeing the different comments and any organization information that has been found. So I can see this comment in particular, looks like it's from the American Medical Association, and they've likely attached some supporting material like studies or brochures. So if I click into this comment, I can see some more detail. Here's where I'm seeing the information that the model found, or some of the models found. I can validate this in the application. I can say that this is correct or incorrect. I can also change if for some reason I feel like this is telling me the stakeholder type wasn't found for this particular comment. I can add that here and hit go, and that will show up as a little pill, I guess you could call it, here to the right. You can provide feedback on any of these areas that we're identifying. Sometimes the models find this information in the comments, sometimes it's not found. You're also kind of seeing any topics that get allocated to this comment, as well as the location and category data here as well. So this is our first row, but I'm going to go into this first level of comment so I can see the PDF that they attached. So it looks like this is a pretty long comment, it's about 36 pages. I'm able to read this in the PDF viewer, but I'm also able to see some of the text and modeling information. Here's those keywords being highlighted that I looked up prior, but I could say I want to see some of the disagreements that have been found in this comment. So the system will highlight the disagreements in line, but it will also show you the disagreements as a list here. You can see up to like all of these things at once, but it kind of gets to be a lot. But just, you know, if you have interest. Also, if you're reading this comment and you say, oh, there was a recommendation that the system missed, you're able to go select that as an option and highlight that for an example. So let me remove that because I don't want that showing up. I'm gonna hit delete. Going into our dashboards that we offer. So we have a few dashboards that kind of give just an overview of the docket that you're looking at. So this is giving you the total count of the comment IDs. This is giving you the pie chart breakdown of the different categories, showing you the inflection of comments over the time period, how many comments are coming in. I'm sure anybody who's familiar with the proposed rule regulations process knows that a lot of those comments come in towards the end. Yay, that doesn't help us when we're trying to analyze, but that's just how things go. We can see the breakdown of comments by state if that information was identified, as well as the comments by topic. So if I pull this bar over here, I'm seeing those topics. These are powered by QuickSight, just so you guys are aware. We have our similarity grouping dashboard as well. This is kind of showing us that those similar groups that I mentioned in our deduplication process or the similar grouping process, we're grouping comments by similar content into different groups. So this one docket has got about 176 different groups. Here we can kind of see like some of these groups are a large amount of comments are being allocated to them. So like I could go into 150, let me pull that up, group 150. And once we scroll over here, okay, this is still showing null. I want to get to group 150. Sorry, guys. 150. Hello. Okay, this one, maybe 150 wasn't one of the bigger ones, but just to show an example, really, we can see the comment text is pretty much the same. You're also able to kind of go into the link of the comment text from here as well. And then going into our stakeholder dashboard, you can kind of see a breakdown and drill down further by different stakeholder types or organizations and roles that were identified in the app. So like if you want to kind of just see what industry organizations are being identified, you have a tabular view of that information here. You're also able to export these dashboards to Excel or CSV. So if there's any additional analysis you want to do outside of the application, you have that capability. The last two things I'm going to touch on are our kind of workflow related functionalities. So if for some reason, as you're working and you want to see all the comments you've reviewed or any comments that you've flagged, you have that capability in your My Selection screen to do that. You can download these comments as well. So if there's any need to kind of get a running list of what you've completed, that's kind of a way that you can do that. And then lastly, in my annotations, you can also see any annotations you've added in the system. You could get a list of just disagreements, or you could say, I want to see all of my annotations that I've found. And this is also an Excel that will download for you. At this time, I'm going to switch over to CASA. Yeah, I'll switch over to CASA. So let me, just for the sake of time. All right, so now I have gotten into same Chrome browser, but CASA Citation Analysis and Summary Assistant should be showing. So I'm here in the CASA system. I'm brought, as I log into my dashboard page, I have a variety of filters available to me as a CASA user. For this use case, there's the data that's in this system is nursing home survey data. So this is going to include information about deficiencies that were cited on surveys for nursing homes. Deficiencies have attributes like deficiency tags that tell reviewers kind of what the topic of noncompliance falls under. So you can search by certain deficiency tags. You can search by the cited scope and severity, which is like telling you that information together tells you how many people or who all was affected, and as well as like how bad the noncompliance was. So you can kind of filter on that information as well. We have models that are flagging deficiencies for scope or severity. That means that the models have identified language within the deficiency text that indicates maybe the scope or severity may be higher or lower than what was initially cited, just flagging this for further review. So you can also identify in the dashboard if you want to filter on options like just show me the deficiencies that have been flagged for severity. So this is saying yes, under cited. That's because currently the phase we're in with identifying severity deficiencies is just identifying undercited severity. We will be getting to oversighted, but that may be a little bit too in the weeds for everyone here. Going down into some of our visuals. So this is our scope and severity dashboard. So we're breaking down visuals by scope information as well as severity information. You can see kind of a breakdown. This is showing a percentage of deficiencies for each state that have been flagged by scope. Similarly, this is showing that same information but flagged for severity. You can also see the deficiencies that have been flagged by the timeline and their breakdown. So if you were to want to focus on one particular deficiency tag, like 800, this information becomes a lot easier to digest. Down here, hold on, my scroll is getting crazy. So then you're not seeing so many lines at one time, which is kind of nice. But if you like that kind of view, that's also available. Similar with the percentage view as well. Down here we have kind of a distribution showing the total number of deficiencies cited under a certain regulatory group. A regulatory group is just a way to organize deficiency tags and group them. So quality of care, residents' rights, pharmacy services, these are different topics that deficiency tags are being cited under. So here we're within these visuals, we're able to see the total number of deficiencies that belong to that regulatory group over the number of deficiencies within that regulatory group that were flagged by the model for severity and scope. We have an all deficiencies tab. Same type of filters are available here. We allow users to search or use the keyword search here, so you can search for deficiencies with certain keywords. You're also seeing a distribution of the different tags and the levels that they're cited at. So you could, if you have interest in seeing like how often tag 914 is cited at level 1, 2, 3, and 4, you kind of get that breakdown in this visual here. In this table is where if you did a keyword search, you know, those deficiencies that you're searching for would come up. So, and then down here we have two different visuals showing the same information. So the count of the scope severity, this is a pie chart showing the breakdown of the counts, and then this is a bar chart showing that information. Likewise with the deficiency tag counts. And then here we're showing the different counts of the levels. So level 2, I know some of you guys may not be familiar with the scope severity grid, but those letters A through L, they align to different levels. So we have this information kind of up here, but level 2 represents deficiencies that have been cited at a D, an E, or an F. That's the level 2 severity. You can also see the levels by the timeline breakdown. And the different types of surveys. So surveys may come in as standard, which is it happens every, like on a pretty much a yearly basis or 15 months. And then complaint is kind of coming in all the time. And sometimes you can have complaints on standard surveys or vice versa. So we offer that breakdown of that information there. And then we're also showing the distribution of the different levels by those regulatory groupings. So before we were seeing deficiency tags at the very top up here, but this is the same visual, but with those regulatory groupings. Going into our surveys page, here is where we're able to use the filters, just like we were in the dashboards, to drill down to specific surveys. So if I wanted to see flagged for severity, like maybe I want to just focus on surveys in the last year, so I can make some yearly selections. I can also identify, maybe I just want to look at a group of deficiency tags, or maybe I'll just pick a few regulatory groups in here, behavioral health. So I'll do that. I'll apply these filters so we can get, oh, whoops. Maybe all of these are giving, let's just do one. So we can get some results back. So on this left-hand side, you can also kind of grow and shrink this as you need. We're seeing a collection of survey cards. So these are surveys, and each survey has deficiencies that have been cited. So I just expanded this survey that happened on the 20th this year. These are the 3 deficiencies. It looks like they were all cited at the D, which is that level 2. This blue flag indicates that one of our models has flagged this. It looks like as I hover, I'm seeing this one was flagged for severity. Both of these actually were. And if I would like to kind of dive into this text more, we also offer a few ways to kind of chunk the text and break it down. So we can highlight what's known as the deficient practice statement. This is actually a common statement that is shown in all of the, hold on one second. Sorry about that. So the deficient practice statement is something that's consistent in the deficiencies that are written up. So this is something that would be commonly occurring. We can also identify like the extent, which tells us how many people were affected by the deficient practice. We're also pulling out information like the survey action, as well as the recipients. So sometimes these deficiencies can get pretty long, or multiple residents or recipients are noted. This kind of helps reviewers navigate through these quickly. I can sort on maybe scope severity here and show an example of that. Oops, scope severity. Yeah, so K would be a higher severity, and this text is significantly longer than the one I just had up. And it's looking like if I go to recipient, we have quite a few different residents being mentioned. So if, like, for example, I wanted to see what was going on with resident 45, I can navigate to that area in the text and kind of get a little bit of a running list as I'm going through this deficiency. Lastly, we are also identifying evidence, facts, and findings. So typically you would think that all of the content written here is part of evidence, facts, and findings, but sometimes that's not just not the case. There does get to be some extraneous detail added into these deficiency citations. So we've been working with our business owners to build a model that identifies, the most relevant evidence, facts, and findings in the deficiency text. We're also working towards a summarization effort, building on that. Last thing I'm going to show is our feedback. We allow reviewers to add feedback to the deficiency that they just reviewed. So if for some reason they felt like this wasn't correctly cited, they can offer their corrected expectation. And then, as I mentioned, those deficiency tags are those topics that, noncompliance would be cited under. If for some reason they felt that there's a more appropriate tag that this should fall under, they can also provide that feedback here and make a selection. If they have any additional thoughts or details, we have a free text area for them to add that. And then if you hit save, I'm just going to put test here for the demonstration purposes. I'm going to also close my actions window. If I go into my all feedback, I'm seeing that timestamp of my feedback that I've put in and any details. That concludes our CASA demo and our FAS demo. So I will pass it over to Nikhil for the chatbot.
Yeah, thanks, Eva. Let me share my screen here. Okay, I hope you can see my screen.
Yep, looks good.
Okay, thank you. All right, so yeah, I mean, Eva did mention all the details about FAS and CASA. At the same time, we are working towards developing this chatbot, which can support our FAS and CASA use cases, because since we work with a lot of text data, surveys, guidelines, and a lot of text data in general, and data that shows up in different types of documents, that's where a chatbot would be kind of a natural progression towards exploring all the data that we have here. So just giving a quick overview of what's going on here, and this is the front end. In the back end, this is all powered by Amazon Bedrock and large language models that are available within Amazon Bedrock. We have added a lot of capabilities and we have done a lot of experimentation in terms of how the responses show up, what kind of parsing strategies you have to use so that your responses eventually align with the question that is being asked. So all this experimentation has been part of the all the setup that we have done as part of Bedrock. Now that's the backend part. Coming on the front end, this is what we are using a framework called Nlux UI, which makes it easy to set up all chatbot related functionality as a front end interface and keep building on top of it. A couple of things we have also done on the backend is having a persistent chat session. So as you could see, all of these chat sessions are stored in the backend. It's a series of DynamoDB tables that we have built out with proper links and structures to store all of this data. So that makes all the chat sessions persistent and reusable in nature. The end goal is that, I mean, right now, as you could see with the link, it's in development. You need Zscaler to access this. But the end goal is that once you get into this chatbot through FAS or CASA, or we also plan to develop this chatbot as a generic user interface where any user can come in, upload their documents and start talking to the documents through the chatbot. So we do plan to expand this functionality to generic users as well, aside from what we are doing as part of FAS and CASA. So once the user login and authentication is set up, you would be just seeing chat sessions that are relevant to the user or a user group that has logged in. So that's the intention of this. Another thing is that we do have access to various knowledge bases. Knowledge bases are nothing but data sources, you can call them. As you could see, the CMS ones that we have here, these are our FAS dockets. These are mostly text files that are uploaded in the backend. And the QSOC ones, these are related to our FAS use, the CASA use case. These are some survey guidelines that are used for citing surveys that happen within nursing homes. So these provide some survey guidelines. And then there is this third one is just a research PDF file that was uploaded. So just signifying that it's not just FAS and CASA data sources that we are working with, but also additional generic data sources. So you can change the data source or the knowledge base while you are interacting with the chatbot. So those are the couple of features we have added, and definitely some work on the UI has been done to make it more user-friendly in terms of interactions. So that's an ongoing thing that we are working on continuously. So I'll just start by creating a chat session. Now I'll start off with a docket that we received as part of FAS. This is a proposed rule that came out in 2024. I do know a topic that did show up frequently in this docket and its comments. So I'm just going to go ahead and ask a question. What are the comments related to malnutrition? Sometimes I do get the spellings wrong. Okay, so this is all the data has been processed. It's about 7,000 comments, I think. So right now it's all processed using Bedrock. It's a vector database that has been created in OpenSearch. It's all managed by Amazon Bedrock. The only things we have to be careful about is what kind of a chunking strategy we use while the knowledge base is being created, because that does affect how the responses show up. So as you could see, we did get a response regarding what's happening about malnutrition. And we also are providing citations here. Now, these are links to the text files in S3, but it's pretty straightforward to convert this into a link to regulations.gov, or it could be a link to a comment within FAS itself. So it's pretty modifiable. So right now it's pointing to S3 as citations, but the idea is that whenever you get the citations here, you should be able to just go back to FAS, look at these comments and get information about additional details, or if you want to do a deep dive into the comment, you can do that from within the chatbot itself. So that's the end goal of it. And we do provide the knowledge base where this is coming from, because let's say you switch the knowledge base here, you are working at a very high level. You are working you do want to work on multiple knowledge bases, so that's why we provide the knowledge base that where this response is coming from, so you can do a cross knowledge base analysis whenever you need to. So this is related to FAS docket, which is text files, as I said, but I'll switch to Appendix PP, which is a nursing home related survey document or guideline document. So this document is about 700 pages with information about when to cite which deficiency tag, and there are about 150 deficiency tags that show up with a lot of content associated with them. So I'll just ask a question about what, tell me about deficiency tag 689. Yeah, you must have seen 689 in one of the deficiency tag list that Eva was presenting as part of CASA. So this is going through that 700, 800 page document and getting back with relevant information. There's a retrieval step that's happening on the knowledge base, and then the summarization. I mean, if you're familiar with RAG, you would know that, but the way you would conduct summarization and the way the best approach to conduct retrieval, these are some of the things we have experimented on and set up the parameters in such a way that give us the best responses. So as you could see, this has given me a lot of information about tag 689. And in the citations, one change is that now we are working with a PDF file here. So as you could see in the citations, you do get the page number, but just from the previous example, you had links for text files, but since we are working with a PDF file here, we do have the direct page number from where this information came. It's not the exact page number, but it's like maybe 3 or 4 pages plus and minus where all of this information exists. So definitely making for the user very easy to identify where the information shows up, because this is a summarized version of things, but this enables you to find information quickly. But if you want to do a more deep dive analysis of things, this also can get you to the document and the page numbers where the information shows up. So accelerating your overall analysis process. So that's the intention of it. Another way you could use this is that now I directly asked the question related to a content that shows up in this PDF file, but I can do something differently. So let's say I just had a thing ready for presentation. It's a lot to type. So what I did in this case is these are situations like this one. These are situations which show up in the deficiencies that Eva was presenting as part of CASA. So what I'm doing is using information or a situation or a finding that showed up in a deficiency, and I want to know which situation does this tag belong to. And one way this can help is usually whenever a deficiency comes in, it comes with a deficiency tag, but it can happen that there could be a certain situation within the deficiency tag where there could be a situation within the deficiency where a different deficiency tag could be relevant. So that's where a tool like this can help you identify which exact deficiency tag is the situation related to. So as you could see, this is the situation had information about pressure ulcers. So F686 is the deficiency tags, which is usually cited for pressure ulcer related issues and with some additional information. Now, I mean, I have asked a very simple question here, but your question can be more detailed out, requesting for additional information. So that's something you can always add to your query. So this is just another perspective of how we think the chatbot could be useful to our use cases. This is definitely for FAS and CASA related, but as I mentioned earlier, we do plan to expand this as a generic tool. Anyone can come in, upload the PDF files or any different types of files in the backend. I mean, through the UI, they can upload it, but things will get processed in the backend, and you can have a lot of data sources ready for you to talk to and analyze. And it's a chatbot. I mean, it's the start of things. Eventually, This is just using natural language, but this does have the capability to expand to generating charts and all the cool things we are seeing nowadays. So we are working towards those kind of features as well. So that's all from me. Amir, I don't know if we have something in the presentation to add in, but that's all from me.
I think the remaining piece of the presentation is some of the upcoming things about chatbot. I think the remaining time we can probably use for Q&A, if there are any. There is one in the chat. Is CCSQ using this for the ideas portal? I think the answer to that is no, but I will let the team confirm.
Maybe a CCSQ question. I don't know if anyone knows about it.
Anyone from the CCSQ team? We can always record that question and get clarification then.
If there are no questions, I think we are good to go.
Awesome, thanks all.
Thank you guys so much. I did make note of that question so we could forward that on. Thank you to Ava, Nikhil, and Amir for presenting today. And then our next presentation is going to be Introduction to Practical Machine Learning, which will be at 3 p.m. So we have about a 14-minute break here coming up. So please join us back at 3 o'clock Eastern Time so we can kick things off. Thanks so much.
Thank you.